So, welcome to today's video. We are taking a look at how to mix haze blue. The haze series was first introduced as a limited edition. That's where mine comes from. I have a little cardboard box with all 5 haze colors as 5 milliliter tubes. They were introduced many years ago. And then there was a second edition of the limited edition a few years back. And since the beginning of this year, 2024, they have included the haze and the urban limited edition series and the regular range of the supergranulating watercolors. So first, of course, we are swatching the original because I do have it. I don't have all the colors, but I've bought the limited edition a few years back because I thought the set was interesting, and of course it's a limited edition, so at that time I wasn't sure if I could ever buy the colors again. And yeah, now we have the luck that we can also buy them open stock, so we don't have to buy all the colors to get the colors we are interested in. So haze blue is basically a muted down version of an ultramarine blue with a color separation effect which separates mostly to the muted blue and yellow. And that is because of the pigments used in the mix. Of course, we have the PB29 ultramarine blue, and we also have PBR7, which is a brown iron oxide in the natural version, and we have a PY43, which is a yellow iron oxide also in the natural version. The reason why I say natural version is that with yellow iron oxide, not yellow iron oxide, with all the iron oxide pigments, we have, normally we have a natural and a synthetic version. Natural means that it is mined somewhere on Earth. And of course, depending on where it is mined, the color shade varies. But of course, you can also make the pigment in a laboratory by mixing the elements, the chemicals together and creating the same pigment. So here we do have the differentiation between the natural and the synthetic version also in the pigment numbers, which is not always the case. In a lot of cases we only have one pigment number. For example, PB29 is the pigment number for the synthetic version we use normally, but the original, the lapis lazuli version, has also the pigment called PB29. It doesn't have its own, and that is with a lot of earth pigments which can be mined or produced synthetically, for example, also the case, but with the iron oxide we do have the differentiation. Honestly, I don't know why we have it there and not with other pigments. Maybe because the range of the colors the iron oxide pigments can make is really big, which is not the case with the most of the pigments. Some can also produce different colors. We see that, for example, in cobalt pigments, but a lot of pigments have a very limited range where they are. So, like I said, first pigment is PB29. I have swatched here the version from White Nights, and then I remembered that the White Nights version I have, which is a very old version. I don't know if the newer versions granulate more, but this is not granulating very strongly, and it is not very good for mixing. That's why I have used the version from Daniel Smith in my mix, because the French ultramarine I have from Daniel Smith is granulating super strongly. It is one of the strongest granulating ultramarine blues I know. So that is definitely a version which is very good for mixing. That is definitely something you must take a look at. For example, the Ultramarine Finest from Schmincke is a version which is milled very finely, so it granulates nearly not at all. You really have to look closely. And this is also a version which is not very good for mixing. So you need a version, an ultramarine blue version, which granulates at least mediocre to strongly to get a good separation effect. Otherwise, you will only see the mixed color you're creating with the pigments, but not get a very strong color separation effect. And maybe not even a very strong granulating effect if you use versions of the pigments which are don't granulate strongly enough. So, of course, with earth pigments, because they have such a big range, what color shades they can produce, it is not so easy to guess which version did the company use. Because, of course, for example, PBR7 is a pigment that can produce more opaque as well as transparent colors. It can vary from light reddish browns to these chocolate kind of brown we have here to very, very dark browns, which are nearly black. So we have a very big range which version they could have used. So it is best, if you don't know when you want to reproduce, to take a look at a color chart or a dot card from the company, which shade you want to try to mix yourself. Because normally they don't buy separate versions of the pigment just for this kind of mixed colors. They use the versions they already have on stock. So the only PBR7 version they have as a single pigment is the burnt umber. Because their burnt sienna, which is the other color, which is very often made of a PBR7, is not a PBR7 version. It is a PR101 mixed with a black. So that's why I could say, okay, we didn't use a burnt sienna here for the mix, or Schmincke didn't use it, they used their burnt umber for the mixture. So that's why we have this dark version. And then we have a PY43. I've looked up, they have two different versions of a PY43 in their range. They have a lighter ochre color, and they have a color which they call, I think it is umber or umber natural or something like that. So two different versions. I've chosen the lighter version just because it looked more yellow, and in the color separation effect, of course, we have the separation between the blue and the yellow part, so I thought yellow might be better suited. So from how much color you need from each pigment, the main part is definitely ultramarine blue. So you need, most of your mixture is made up from ultramarine blue. The next color which is used the most is the yellow ochre. And we only take a very small amount of the burnt umber. The burnt umber basically is just to get the ultramarine blue to get muted down to this darker kind of blue we see here. And the yellow is for, of course, getting the yellow parts in the color separation. If you are realizing when you're testing your mix, you don't see enough of yellow and mix more yellow again into the mix, then you must also get a little bit more probably of the blue and the burnt umber into it, just because if you are mixing a bigger amount of the ochre into the mix, then it will look more like a gray color. I've tried it. So yeah, it is of course always try by fail and oh damn it, sorry, try and error kind of situation, that you must look how much of which pigment is used. So yeah, of course, mixtures with just 2 pigments are very easy to recreate. With 3 pigments or 4, it gets a little bit harder, because you must first get a feeling which pigment is used in which amount. So I would probably say here that we have around 60 to 70% of the ultramarine blue, probably around 5% of the burnt umber, and the yellow ochre is the rest, like 20, 25%, something like that. So main part is the ultramarine blue, then yellow ochre, and then the burnt umber. And I hope that information helps you to recreate this mix on your own. I did realize after drying that probably my yellow ochre was a little bit too light. Probably should have used a version which is a little bit darker, because it doesn't show up as strongly in my mixture as it is on the original version. So that is something I also want to mention, that I tried it with mix in more, but it didn't get to the effect. So I guess probably a little bit darker yellow ochre color would be better suited for the mixture. But aside from that, my yellow isn't looking or peeking through as strongly as it is on the other version. I think the color shade and all the rest is really close to each other. So yeah, like I said, I really hope the video was interesting and helpful for you to mixing your own haze blue. And as always, thumbs up or a follow is very, very much appreciated, because it really helps me and the channel so much. So thanks a lot for that. And I really hope you have a wonderful day, and to see you soon in one of my other videos. And yeah, I would love to hear from you if you have ever mixed this or do have a haze blue on your own. How do you like the color or the haze colors in general? And yeah, is this a color after the video which is interesting to you to say, okay, I try to mix it myself, or I buy the color? Let me know in the comments below. So yeah, bye bye. See you next time.